Thank you, then, Ram, for this kind introduction. And what an amazing day we had today. It's really awesome to see what the collaborations between our partners in the startup could accomplish. My name is Johannes. I'm a ventures analyst for Plug and Play. And I invite you today to join with me this panel discussion and listen to inspiring innovators from various industries and world-leading companies. Today we will be talking about sustainability, and sustainability, of course, is an omnipresent topic across all industries and has long become a centerpiece of the corporate strategy for automotive industry. So right now we are witnessing already an obvious shift to environmental friendly drive concept, but also the car interior and exterior is changing and evolving. We have new innovative technologies that allow new material applications in and around the car. But at the same time, we are going through a health crisis, a pandemic, which really changed the dynamic of a whole industry and put a spotlight on new technologies and on hygiene requirements. Now we are talking about technologies like UV light, antimicrobial materials, and they are really on the rise. But this also bears challenges, and especially for material development. So we are asking ourselves, are these two focal points, sustainability on one hand and in-car hygiene on the other hand, are they contradicting each other, or can they actually coexist and foster even greater innovation in the material development? So I'm really honored, but above all, I'm really excited to be here and to welcome four inspiring leaders, which all share the same mission to create a better world for the future. And with us today, Razmik Balian, with his more than 26 years experience at ATC. Razmik really gained the professional knowledge of the automotive and glass industry. In his current role, his focus lies on developing future strategies for a safe, connected, and sustainable mobility. Welcome, Razmik. Great to have you here today. The next guest is Laurence Dufrancatel. Currently, she holds the position of Material Innovation Global Domain Manager at Faurecia. Since joining the company in 1999, Laurence has filed numerous award-winning patents for sustainable materials and continues to do so. Welcome, Laurence. I'm really happy you joined us today. Before joining Airbus, before joining Airbus 8 years ago, our next guest, Paul Edwards, held leading positions as Senior Design Manager at Philips Design and Virgin Atlantic Airways. In his current role at Airbus, Paul leads the strategic application of design across all Airbus cabins. Welcome, Paul. And to complete the round, I'm very happy to welcome Oihana Elizalde. Oihana is the General Manager for the Miriam Business Unit at Natural Fiber Welding. Natural Fiber Welding is a US-based startup boosting the performance on plant-based textiles for the circular economy. Before joining this venture, Oihana fulfilled leading positions in the fields of innovative management and product development at BASF. So Razmik, I would like to start the round with a question for you. So AGC, as a leading supplier for automotive industry, already offers innovative solutions such as lightweight glazing, highly insulated glass or heat control windshields that contribute to the CO2 reduction of vehicles. In what ways do you see can glass contribute to in-car hygiene?
So let me try to answer this in a slightly different manner. I would like to touch on safety, sustainability, and then I'll come to technologies. Hopefully I can do it in a concise manner. So the main feature of glass is safety. Usually it is seen as a transparent material, and this is regarded as its main feature, but transparency is also a part of a feature of safety. So glass keeps us safe from the elements, from harsh environment, from harsh chemicals, from other dangers, while it is providing a peace of mind in the form of visibility of what we can see on the other side. So that is how we define visibility as a part of safety. Of course, safety is more pronounced in the world of mobility, in cars, in buses, in trains, in planes, and we can kind of sum this up as the cocoon effect of feeling safe in the cocoon or the cockpit of a vehicle. Now, another element of safety that you touched upon is cleanliness, which unfortunately is more prominent nowadays with the advent of this pandemic that we're in. And from the start of the pandemic, we had to really start thinking or using stronger cleaning agents, stronger methods for cleaning, and probably we were concerned with their effects on wooden tables, marble countertops, leather, plastic, buttons, this, that, and the other. But I bet you not many people thought about how to clean glass, and they just did it. And most of these harsh materials, in any case, probably come in some kind of a glass container. So cleanliness and to touch with hygiene and where we are in today is kind of second nature to glass. Let me jump very quickly to sustainability. Glass is high in the list of sustainable products. It's an inert material. It's very close to its original low raw material constituents and has a very long life. Nothing bothers it. It can sit there and do its job for many years. It was one of the first materials to be recycled, and the general public is very much aware of it. It can be recycled back to its original intended use, or it can be repurposed for abrasives, for, I don't know, glass wools, colored to add to asphalt, for paving materials, and other things. Of course, yes, producing glass also produces CO2, but it is good to know that glass pays back more than 10 to 1 or tenfold during its useful life. So for every ton of CO2 that is emitted to produce glass that we use in buildings or cars, it will reduce our own everyday CO2 footprint by 10 tons. So it's a 10 to 1 payback. Of course, the industry is doing its best to significantly reduce the environmental footprint, and it is in full support of EU targets of 40% reduction by 2030 and 85% reduction by 2050. Now, let me jump quickly to technology aspect. We've been using many what we call passive features, such as dark tinted glass or for privacy, or UV or IR cut glass for comfort, or thin glazing, as you mentioned, to reduce the weight of vehicles or to simplify framing windows in buildings. Now, those are passive products. Tinted glass will always be tinted glass forever. We also have active features such as heated glass for windshields to melt the snow or the ice or defog the interior, which nowadays the same technology is being used to create or to produce glass wall radiators for buildings. Another feature is switchable glazing, where, for example, we can change the tint of glass. We can see it in various aircrafts these days and also in vehicles based on the requirements of the user, or we can go from transparent to opaque material to create a certain, let's say, privacy environment.
Razmik,
and this is all tailor-made and in control of the user. In addition, as you mentioned, we also have antibacterial coatings, that these are active coatings and are triggered by UV light if and when necessary, and probably it will be for a while required from the industry, I assume.
All right.
Now with the...
Excuse me, can I just interrupt you real quick? I'm sorry.
Sure.
You mentioned aircraft, and I think this is a great buzzword to shift now from street mobility going to air mobility. And Paul, coming back to you, I mean, obviously, hygiene and sustainability has been always something that aircrafts are or Airbus is familiar with. So I was really wondering, with all this development with the pandemic, how do you think these things can play together, and how you as a designer, what kind of development do you envision for materials that on the one hand serve sustainability, but on the other hand also ensure the hygiene aspect?
Yeah, I think for me, it's inevitable that these two topics come together, simply because for us at Airbus, these two topics are top priorities. So safety is and always will be a top priority for us. And you can see that today in the context of the Keep Trust in Air travel activities that we've been running, which is a big company-wide initiative where we're working with suppliers and airlines to really catalyze a safe and quick return to the operations and make sure that the people flying, whether it's crew, or passengers, feel safe and that they really remain uncompromised, or that their health remains uncompromised. But of course, equally, sustainability is a really big priority for us. And I'd like to think that we've done a lot in terms of having a good track record in reducing noise and emissions. And as you know, we've probably made some quite strong and clear commitments and targets for the future. So this is where materials and in the cabin can really play a big part. So actually, I think there is no trade-off here between the two. I think the two have to work together and will come together and work harmoniously. But as you say, it's a complicated topic, particularly when we start to talk around sustainability. Because actually what we need to think about is that it's not just about the alignment between, say, Airbus and our suppliers and our partners. We have to really think about the whole life cycle of the aircraft, not just the materials during manufacture. We have to think across the whole end-to-end process. And of course, to do that, we use a lot of life cycle assessment tools, which help us really pinpoint and focus where we can really develop new solutions to add value. And here, of course, I think what we found is that there are many win-win situations. So weight reduction, for example, this is where new materials can play a really big part. If we can reduce weight, we can reduce fuel burn. Of course, our customers, the airlines, are happy because it reduces their fuel bill. And we as the flying public hopefully are happy because we get cheaper tickets.
When you talk about weight reduction, I mean, it's really interesting. I think looking at Laurence, weight reduction with your interior parts for automobiles, which are also still heavily polymer based. I know you have been implementing a lot of innovative materials and have been able to lower their environmental footprint. So now, from your perspective, how did COVID change maybe your strategic? Or did you try to innovate even further and create synergies between the environmental aspect, the sustainable aspect, and the hygiene aspect, which Paul also mentioned before?
Indeed, we developed during the last 15 years lots of different grades around environmental issues or environmental topics, because this is one of our top priority, as said by Paul just before. This is a real big priority for us. So we developed different portfolio, and especially for injection, but as well for compression, based on CO2 reduction, LCA reduction, so the LCA of the complete life of the vehicle, and based as well on recyclability. So we were using, for that, to achieve this target, we were using sustainable fibers. So in this case, it was hemp fibers. And thanks to optimized design, we were able to save weight. And we were using as well recycled content of the matrix. So at the end, we were able to save between, I would say, 30 to 100% of the CO2 factor. So it was a great step, I would say. And we were able as well to save more than 40% on the complete LCA, so it was really important. So this is a strong dynamic we have for many years, as I said, and this is really, I would say, included in our group ambition, because we want to be CO2 neutral in 2030 for the total perimeter, excluding carriage. So the dynamic is still really there, still very, very active, and today not impacted at all by the current sanitary crisis. And we have strong activity on that. We are still developing solutions, so for sure. We have dedicated team. So sustainability is still one key criteria and key project by Faurecia. In parallel, for sure, we are developing, as we said just before solutions against viruses, against bacteria, easy to clean solutions, and so on. This is as well a strong priority for standard cars, I would say, but as well for car sharing. And today we are working actively in two directions, and we are able to today to merge these two directions and find common solutions for these both directions. So to answer your questions, I would say that no, we were not impacted by this crisis, and it's a great news for us.
Awesome. This is really great to hear, and I think just to add on to this, I think Oihana, being from a startup and being a producer of these sustainable materials that maybe bigger tier ones will be able to use. Of course, I think everybody has been facing challenges or by this pandemic. But how was this on your? Has there been an impact on interest of your technology? Has it risen? Has it maybe dropped? And do you see also for you a need to specify more on these hygienic requirements that are rising now?
Yeah, so very interesting discussion, and happy to talk about sustainability and materials. Yeah, so we come with a leather-like material, all based on plants, using no plastics. And as you can imagine, this goes in industries all the way from fashion to footwear to interior of cars and mobility. So, of course, big impact on how we've been functioning over these last months, and also big impact on our customers and all the industries that they serve. So maybe in general, I think overall, as you probably are not surprised, big impacts on budgets and resources that we've seen from partners, and a lot of rethinking for us and our customers as well on where do we refocus, what are key priorities. I guess the good news, and you've heard it very clearly from Paul and Laurence today, is that sustainability has still been a key focus. We see brands across all industries really doubling down on their commitments and really focusing on innovation, really forward thinking and really grounded on sustainable materials like Mirum. So this really means even if projects were shut down or canceled, we saw that projects around Mirum to really take more priority and even be more front of mind in terms of how the world post-COVID will look like and the type of challenges that we need to tackle together. So big boost, even more interest and lots of requests and very good dialogue there. I think, again, we've all reflected. I think we are all more aware of the impact we have on each other and the planet we share. And that's why we need to double down on those efforts.
I think
yes.
That's what you just said. I mean, this sums up perfectly. I think, or this is really encouraging for all of us that all our industry, all the partners from the industry, you guys, all think that sustainability still in crisis or in this pandemic is really a big focus. And I think this is pretty much sums it up that we all have to still think about the future, and there will be a post-crisis, and that sustainability can just has to continue for the goods of our next generations. And yeah, unfortunately, I could have gone on for, I think, 35, 40 more minutes. Unfortunately, we are at the end already. And I want to thank you all for dialing in, for being here with us. It has been a great discussion, great insights to many different industries. And for all our visitors and spectators, I encourage you to stay online. And with this, I will give back to Dan Ren.